So, name of this segment is what should we call it? Lil Loothin?
Ooh, I like Little
Lil Loothin?
Luthin. Yeah,
All right,
that's
we're Lil Loothin with Danny West of West Guitar Works. Danny, how many square feet have you got? We'll just do this again just for fun.
yeah. I got 200 square feet here at the San Diego Made Factory in San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you give your camera a turnaround? So I'm guessing with 180 degrees of the camera, we'll see all
Let's.
200 square feet, correct?
Oh yeah. Let's see. Here is the door.
Uh huh.
It's closed right now.
Uh
So
huh.
this is my bench,
Uh
my
huh.
main bench.
Uh huh.
And I'll come back around. This is all my machinery.
Uh huh. Is that a rigid bench top?
It is.
Yeah. How do you find that to be?
I've had this one for like maybe 6 years, and it's been moved across the country a couple times,
Uh
and like got a little messed up. So I have this like ant baffle sacrificial board to
oh
keep it square.
yeah, the oscillating rigid. I've always wondered about those. So do
Yeah.
you like that thing?
Oh yeah, for a small shop, it's great.
So that's actually like can do some real like kind of small belt sanding duties, it looks like there, but it oscillates
Yeah.
at the same time it's belt sanding,
Yeah,
correct?
I get all those.
And you can put the traditional spindle sander things on there. How long does it take to get it out of that kind of oscillating belt sander mode into the spindle sander mode?
Oh, it's like I would say 2 minutes.
Okay,
Yeah, if you're
cool.
really fumbling around.
I've always wondered about those. um,
Yeah,
I, they're not
this thing is great.
they don't break the bank either, right?
No, no, it's like $200.
$200.
Yeah.
Man, I got a little cheap Harbor Freight oscillating spindle sander that I think might go to Goodwill, and I might pick one of those up because I don't have a belt sander and I don't have the room for it. So I'm in a small shop too right now.
Yeah, those are cool. The Triton sanders look cool.
Uh huh.
I don't know if you guys have those on the East Coast.
Extras up there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, hold on. You got that
Oh,
little
I
itty
got that
bitty
good bit.
thing
Yeah.
to sander.
Yeah, this thing is the bee's knees. It is
Yeah,
amazing.
Alex Glasser's got one of those, and I've been playing with the idea of getting one too. That also is like what 200-300 bucks, something like that.
Yeah, it was like 300. I used to have the Micro Lux drum sander,
Yes.
and I found that it sanded things really uneven because the drum was like a hard rubber, so
Yeah.
it would deflect. So I sold that and bought this one, and it's amazing.
What
It's
what
so easy to change the paper.
what did you get for that? Can you is it possible to open that up and see the paper change mechanism on that?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think you had like Dream Tools or something.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Oh, easy peasy.
yeah,
So you could probably just snip up belt sander
yeah,
paper and throw that on
any
there.
paper.
Oh, that's really cool. And I see you got bone dust in there, so that's pretty good at dimensioning bone blanks to get going with.
Yeah, it's great.
Man, that is uptown.
Yeah, it really was a game changer.
So I gotta get one. So is it? I mean, you could do. So what's the width on that? It looks like you could probably do some
So
pretty wide
right
lumber
now
too.
I have two different grits going. I have I think like 100 and like 180,
Uh huh.
but you can also get a full width grit.
So what's the kind of what's the tolerance for being able to step it down in cuts? Like, are you able to like really dial in a nut blank
Oh
to
yeah,
like a thousandth of an,
thousandths.
and
Yeah,
it's coming out square?
yeah,
Ah, cool. If
Yeah,
when
and I
somebody,
have it. This paper right here has it, so I can pretty much just throw it in. The finish is great off of that.
uh, man,
Just touch it up with like 400 grit, and it's ready to go.
well, that is some tiny shop stuff right there. That's like,
Yeah,
oh
it's
man.
it's the best dust collection on any of the sanders that I have.
So you're not fuming up your, oh man, that's just, I mean, you got, I think that gets thrown in the mix of like you have to have kind of things. I'm getting one. That's
Yeah,
it. Um,
and I'm just
Paul asks, where does that come from? Is that a micro mark thing, or is that
this is Model Machines.
model machines? And that's
Yeah,
that's their own thing too, right?
yeah.
They must be like a competitor to.
He just is super into models, and
Oh boy, buy one of those now. You never those one guy
yeah,
things. You never know how long they're going to be
yeah.
available.
You never know what's going to disappear.
Yeah, I'm buying one.
Check this out.
Oh, look at this fella. Did you get that on the street? Did you buy that for like?
I found him at an antique store in
Uh-huh.
Austin. I live there.
Uh-huh. Oh, when you were working at Collins?
Yeah.
Cool. So look at let's go back to your tape sitch. I want to see
Oh yeah.
your tape roller sitch. So
Yeah.
you ponied up for the StewMac tape rollers. Plus you got that brown one's like the three. Is that the 3M
This is
Big Daddy?
yeah, the 3M nice heavy.
Yeah, that's what we used at Breedlove for binding, and
Yeah.
they I think the StewMac ones are maybe could be a little bit better for binding than that, but
These blades are so sharp.
yeah,
You like I left this one uncovered. Big no no because like
because
that'll
you'll fuck
that'll
yourself up.
yeah.
Ted Bergstrom says, "Hey Sam." Oh, that's not to you. That's
Sam.
to Sam. Sam in the thing. You're not Sam.
Sam
You're
is
Danny.
here.
Sam.
Sam is always
Sam is watching.
he's omnipresent. Here's another important thing right now.
Your wet wipes. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
So, do you got protocols in place for pickup and drop off, or are you shut down?
No, I'm doing curbside drop off,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm letting guitars sit in their cases here for 3 days before I work on them.
Good stuff.
And yeah, I tell them, you're picking up your guitar right now, and I feel fine, but
Don't.
if you want to be careful, don't touch it for another 3 days.
I tell people the same thing. I said I'm going to Costco once a week. Like don't fuck around. It's not
Yeah.
fucking around time. So
Yeah.
you got like a Shop Fox disc sander there? Is that what I'm seeing?
This is a Jet.
Oh, a Jet. Oh yeah. Look at that big table on there. Look at that big
Yeah,
boy
this thing's
table.
great. Has this little like circle cutting jig thing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty cool. And it has its own dust collection.
Whoa.
It's non-powered,
Huh. So
it
passive.
just plugs into that.
So they just have like some kind of. Is there like an impeller in there that is run by the?
Yeah,
Oh, cool. And
yeah,
does that work? Do you feel like that's a good
yeah.
feature?
It works as good as having my shop vac hooked up to it. I actually just switched it back
Uh-huh.
because I was tired of hearing my shop vac all the time, and this works just as good.
So I noticed the StewMac shop stand.
Yeah, I just bought it because it was a great deal.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
a nice sandpaper caddy you got up there. Where did
It's
that come from?
it's a Shop Fox one. I forget where I think I ordered it from Amazon,
Uh-huh.
but it like bulges out, so I like strapped it.
It bulges?
Yeah, like see how I have this like piece of wood here, the middle like
Uh-huh.
it like bulges outward and then it collapses, so I made it
Okay.
work.
Okay. So maybe that's not the highest praise that you can give
No,
a
I would
sandpaper
if I had a
caddy.
table saw, I would make my own.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good
But
idea.
this was like $20, so
And is that Grandpa's tool chest there?
I got this from an auction at the community college.
Cool. So
I do have Grandpa's tool chest over here though.
oh, look at that.
Yeah,
Okay, go back.
and his hand plane in
Uh
here.
huh. I got a couple things from my grandfather's shop too, and they're really I, whenever for some reason if I turn around and they're not around, I get a little bit
Yeah,
of anxiety. Look at
my
this.
yeah, isn't that cool?
That is cool. So what's on the upper deck there? You got on that stand. Is that stand that you got there? Is that from Costco? Is that one of their old?
This the stand?
Yeah, the rack there.
Oh yeah, these are the Costco ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my miter saw.
Uh huh. Do you use that much? Do you have much call
No,
for construction in here? Mostly storage.
I used it a lot when I was like first moving in,
Uh huh.
and now it's just kind of chilling up there.
Uh huh. No, you never know.
I'm
You never know when it might have to jump back into service.
yeah, and if it's it's fairly light to get down from there.
So what are those? What's your file cabinet? Is that
This is just my file cabinet. Uh,
you keep your business papers in there?
I keep one. Yeah, I keep one of them, and then the rest of it is just shit storage.
Bric a brac.
Yeah.
Looks like you got some like some Tums.
I got some Claritin because I'm allergic to mold. So whenever like an old moldy guitar comes in, I pop one of these. Some Advil,
Uh huh. Oh, some.
some filters.
Uh huh. You
But
know,
this is the parts bin to end all parts bins.
who's that from? Is
I
that from
got it.
Uline?
No, I got it from an auction. It used to be at Boeing
Uh huh.
here in
Oh.
San Diego,
Oh.
and, and it was there's this website called Cal Auctions that I hunt a lot, and this was on there, and it rotates. It doesn't rotate right now because I have like a bunch of stuff on the side of it,
Uh huh.
but it got four different sides of parts
Oh,
bin.
cool.
Yeah.
Do you keep a lot of parts on hand then? Are you invested in making sure you you're not like wasting a bunch of time ordering parts or
That's one thing that I'm struggling with right now, and I'm trying to be better about is getting more parts because that's like my biggest slowdown, my bottleneck really when it comes to turnaround.
yeah. I would uh I would caution against having a lot of parts.
Really?
Yeah, I grew up in a shop where the the shop that I did my apprenticeship in was right as the internet was hitting, right as musician's friend was hitting, and I watched the guy that I worked for. He just was a one of everything kind of parts guy. He always wanted to have the stuff, and then as soon as the internet hit, everybody was haggling for prices, and
Yeah.
he wound up with a lot of parts he never used and could never sell because he just was kind of stuck with what his investment in him was. But I mean, for me personally, I'll like do what you feel. But for me personally, I always tell people just drop ship me the parts. If you can figure out how to make a buck on parts, though, I mean, I'm all ears for it. But
I mean, I got an all parts account and it's wholesale. So what I've been doing is ordering extra of something whenever I need to order something I don't have.
and just tacking it on.
Yeah.
So
And so far that's worked.
okay, yeah, maybe like if all parts is wholesaling it, I mean, maybe there's a way to make some money on that.
Yeah. There's a couple dollars.
Well, I mean,
That adds up.
in owner operator repair shops, I mean, you got to get it where you can. I mean,
Yeah.
because it's not going to be made talking on the phone with customers. So,
Yeah.
all right. So what?
Here's where my neck jig lives right now.
Okay. Are you an every fret job gets a neck jig guy?
No, this one was Chelsea's, so it's pretty new to me. I'm still kind of learning it. I've used it for I would say like four fret jobs,
Okay.
and I've been happy with it. But man, it takes forever to set up.
Yeah, I just did Goodall that had a twist in the neck, and I absolutely needed it for that. Like,
I saw that. That was pretty sweet with
and,
the split clamps.
yeah, and I was super glad to have it. I told Dan I'm gonna give it a fair shake as a daily driver and try to put every guitar into it that I work on just to see if I'm missing anything. It's really hard coming from a manufacturing background, like
Yeah.
being at Collins, like every every second that isn't earning money on something
Oh yeah.
feels like sacrilege. Like I forget. Does Collins use neck jig? They do. They use neck
Yeah.
jigs. In
They have a plec and they use a neck jig.
okay, man.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. So I'm interested in that. You got a little wood storage happening down there.
Yeah, it's just 2x4, some body blanks.
Are you doing anything to? Is that a dehumidifier or a heater or?
Oh, this is a heater right here.
Okay. Do you run a? You're on the coast. I'm not sure what you're. Are you pretty stable?
Sometimes, yeah, I'm pretty stable. Sometimes in the winter, I'll run it just kind of while I'm working, or if I'm doing something with hide glue,
Mm-hmm.
I'll bust that out. Here's my steamer back in here.
Uh huh. Oh, for pulling necks.
Yeah,
Are you still using that, or are you doing? Have you moved over
I
to the dry stuff?
I just ordered the Solomon heat stick
Okay.
get up, so I'm excited to try that.
So that looks like one of those fancy Costco toolboxes too.
I think that's what it is. I got it for $200
Uh huh.
on Craigslist.
Move that base. Let's start pulling drawers. I want to see what's in your drawers, son.
I'm still figuring out what's going on in here. Let's see. I got my heating
Uh
blankets,
huh.
my
Get your laser
my
temperatometer there.
yeah, my controller,
Mm-hmm.
super precise. What's in here? Oh, this is just like stuff I want to make sanding blocks out of one day.
What's that material? Is that HDPE or is that Teflon or?
I found it in a dumpster.
Oh, I love that. I love it.
Yeah, this stuff I got for I think like $10, and it's like this like crazy psychedelic Delrin.
Oh yeah, and it's a big block of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's thick.
Ha.
So, see, I got my hose in here. I got some gasket material. I'm
Uh huh.
always like flipping that on clamps.
Yeah.
Here's my saddled routing jig.
Yeah.
Let's see what's in here. Here's all my drills, my drill bits.
So you're at least doing. You're probably about at the level I'm doing, where you realize that things that belong together can go in the same drawer. That's
Yeah,
really
see,
a real important step in
this one's
organizing.
yeah. It's an ongoing battle with me.
Got you some cork.
Yeah,
It
my
looks like
mom found a bunch of like shelf liner that she didn't want, so
cool.
here's some wire that it's really good two conductor. I bought 9 pounds of it from Ken Armstrong. Some
Clamp
clamps.
drawer.
Yeah,
I need to
clamps.
get some more of those Ibex style.
Yeah, the Shopbox ones are great.
They are, yeah.
I mean, I had to clean up the bottom
Yep.
a little bit,
Every time.
but that took like 5 minutes with a file.
Yeah, I even go the extra mile and just file it completely flat, just so there's no. Got you some good shimming wood there.
Yeah, some spruce. Here's more of that wire.
Uh huh.
Um, here's my crock pots, my wax.
Oh,
Potting.
you're doing pickups, aren't you?
I don't do them, but my buddy had a microphonic Mustang pickup, so I bought some wax and
Potted
figured
it.
that out. Some blue stuff.
I'll tell you what, the action on that toolbox looks pretty nice, man.
Oh, it's real nice, real smooth.
It's got that soft close thing. Got
Yeah,
your StewMac scissor jack in there.
yeah. I'm gonna do that little mod that with the set screw
Oh, cool.
that you have. Yeah, this one. Oh, here's all my paintbrushes.
Awesome.
Super exciting stuff.
Ted Bergstrom says those clamps are about the only shop Fox tools he likes, and that's
yeah.
Amen to that.
And then I got my water. This little stand that I keep my.
Oh, your wax paper. Is there tinfoil in there too?
There's tinfoil for
wrap.
my hats.
Yeah.
And just whatever else goes on top of it. Snacks. And this was like my first tool chest.
That was Grandpa's?
Yeah, so I mean it's got I got my collection of dental picks, tweezers. I need to cut down on my tweezers.
You got hemostats and stuff. Do you got so what kind of stuff was Grandpa up to with that tool chest? Was he an engineer?
He was an engineer. He was more of a tinkerer. He did like surveying professionally, but he messed around in his garage. So
that fella's got to do that. That was a real I think a lot of fellas from that generation were just.
And then this was somebody else's grandpa's. Found it on Craigslist. It looks great, but the action on these drawers is sometimes you have to really.
Yeah.
But it came with a lot of his old tools in here.
I love that.
There's some good stuff in here, like these punches.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, and then here's my secondary bench. I'll back up so you can see it. This one it's super sturdy.
Did you make that one, or is that a store bought?
I made this one. Before I went to Roberta Venn, I was taking classes at a local community college, and there was a class where you made your own workbench. So there was like one design, and everybody took measurements to see what would work best for them. I think there's 28 of us that made these benches. It was really fun.
What are the legs? Are those 4x4s, or are those? Did you guys mill those?
Maybe.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah. Check out the.
Oh man, Sam, or Danny, will you make me a bench?
I wish I had the means to do it now. I would.
Yeah, because I mean, you guys were in a shop setting with like big cabinet saws and stuff, right?
Yeah, and they had a rotating. They've probably seen them for like sandboards at factories.
Mm-hmm.
They had like a rotating, like bar clamp fixture.
Oh yeah.
That they glued these up with. It was great.
That's some real fine woodworking magazine shit right there.
It was. They had their own sawmill at the school, and you could volunteer on the weekends and cut up trees that fell from the city. It was a really cool experience.
Hey, let's look at your main bench there. We haven't really taken a look at that.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things going on here.
So this is where the Loothin happens.
Yeah, this is the shit in fart box.
It
just switches between the tuner and the amp.
Cool. So, and you got a Peterson up there?
Yeah, I scored on this. I already had the digital one. And a friend of mine that's getting out of the game asked if I wanted it for $100, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I got that.
So you ever let those two fight it out?
I like to run both of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. Sometimes it's easier to read the strobe, and sometimes it's easier to read the digital one. So.
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep most of what I need on this bench. I got my little soldering cubby. Just shit storage. some gloves, some Q-tips.
And you like that Music Nomads neck rest?
Yeah, I mean it's around. It's not my go-to. This
The
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 StuMac thing
the shot
is
bag.
yeah, that's I like that, and I also like the the Mr. Power.
What's that? Is that just like a solid piece of cork?
Yeah, this thing's great. I
Mister.
got it on Mr. Power guitar neck rest.
Uh huh.
I think it was on Amazon.
Huh. Does Mrs. Power know he's doing that still? Or?
No, I don't know. I my neck relief gauge.
And yet another StuMac tape dispenser. Look at you, man.
Oh yeah,
You got like
I love
you got
those
like
things.
$7,000 worth of tape dispensers.
For a while, I was adding one to every order.
You know that's what oh who was the first guy I interviewed? Why can't I remember his name? Expert Fred James Gay.
James.
He said the same thing. Yeah, just every
Yes.
order I was sucking it up and adding one. You know.
Yeah. At my old shop, I had all this stuff behind the bench, and I didn't like that. I didn't like having all that shit hanging over the guitars.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
It's the worst. That was like when I worked at Breedlove. That was the first thing that changed about my repair bench was I don't drag any of those pointy things over the top of the guitar.
Yeah, and I mean, I have some stuff over here, but I've gotten really good at
Yeah.
just moving my hand, like
Yeah.
doing a dance,
Yeah.
having that muscle memory so I don't
Yeah.
pull things over the guitar.
That's that Guitar Factory stuff getting back into
Yeah.
you. Hey, what's your paper towel roller situation there?
This thing is from Rockler.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That
It holds all my my juice.
dang it. I need to get my paper towel situation is always shameful. It's always just a roll of paper towel sitting on a bench. Total pain in the ass to get one off one handed.
I wanted to do the Frank Ford thing where you could just put a dowel in your bench
Uh-huh.
and you have the two stacked on top of each other. But then I found this and I was like, well, that's multi-purpose. Come
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
it's magnetic. So let's see what we got in here. 45%.
Very nice.
Yeah, yeah. I got an open roof, so I'm not really controlling the humidity in here, but it self-regulates pretty well.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So you're in like a little artist colony area, right?
Yeah. You want to tour?
Yeah,
that
I want
real
to tour
quick?
that. Let's see what that's like. I've always wondered if one of those would be good for a Luth. So
There's a pretty sweet mural in here. I'll take you to first. There's my goodbye top from Collings before we head out the door.
cool. How long were you there?
I was there for a year.
Cool.
That's the hallway. Make sure I don't creep up on anybody. There's like a conference room over here.
Uh-huh.
Some podcasting rooms that are right up against my machine wall. Some bathrooms.
Brr.
Check this thing out.
I mean, Purple Tom Selleck.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, somebody was like, you know what this world needs is a giant Purple Tom Selleck, and they didn't let anything stand in their way to achieve that
No.
vision, did they?
They got Mad Steez to do it,
Uh-huh.
and they made their dreams reality.
Oh, it's like a choose your own adventure book.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an old warehouse, man. Before we were in here, there was a sunglass company,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was a warehouse for a skateboard company. That I don't know if you skated at all, but World Industries was one of their main
I
companies.
remember World Industries. That was a little. My first deck was a Danny Sargent that I traded 3 hits of acid for. So, like that's how long ago that was.
Yeah, so there's just a bunch of 3 hits of acid. That's a steal.
Well, it was that's how things were back then. The guy wanted the acid, I wanted the skateboard. Actually, I didn't even really want the skateboard. I took it, and then I was like, hey, a skateboard, I'll ride this around. And then I kind of was into skateboarding for a while.
There you go.
It was
It's
to be fair, it was a pretty haggard. I mean, he'd skated the shit out of that board. It wasn't like I
it
was getting a brand new deck. So
had like ground down knife edges.
yeah, it was. But I miss those big decks.
Yeah, so
Well, that's pretty cool, man.
yeah,
So are there like, is it completely full of people, or is it? Is
there's a few vacancies right now.
uh huh.
There was a wave of people that had to move out when
Mm-hmm.
all this shit first hit.
They were
Um,
barely hanging on anyway.
yeah, man, I was starting to worry for a little bit.
Yeah. So what's? I mean, it looks pretty upscale. What's? Does rent and everything make sense to be there and all that?
Yeah, it's basically the cheapest rent that I can afford in San Diego right now for a workspace.
Well, I think I gotta say for 200 square feet, like I mean, you don't have a bandsaw is the only thing that I see that's really like.
Yeah, and I have a bandsaw. So before this, I had a extra room in my parents' house
Mm-hmm.
that I was using as my shop,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a Laguna 1412 in there.
I don't know how you'd scroll that in there.
Uh, yeah, I'm thinking maybe where the water cooler is,
Yeah, I can
and
see that.
wheel it out. Because I mean, I don't really. That's a luxury item. I don't
Mm-hmm.
really need that. Yeah, because right now I'll show you my bandsaw is this drawer right here with all my different saws.
No, I heard that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how you're set for money, but Raycon makes a pretty nice 9 inch that'll get a lot of stuff done.
I,
Yeah,
I was I was thinking about that. Those look really cool.
yeah, and I had opportunity to use one, and it was pretty tight. You know, the other thing I saw was I'll try to find it on my Instagram again, but one of the guys on there took a jigsaw and mounted it to a table with the saw coming up, and
Oh
then
yeah,
welded a thing with bearing guides to go over the
yeah,
top of it and grab it. And I thought,
yeah,
boy, I bet you could get a lot of stuff done with a thing like that. It's almost I think somebody's making something like that too. Like I think I saw something like that in the Rockler catalog or something.
yeah. I'm sure. I think. Oh man, it's like a skill saw like kit or something.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about. Another thing I have to worry about here is noise, though, since it's open roof, and I don't really want to be. I mean, it, you know, there's other people making noise, but I'm trying to kind of
Yeah.
be courteous. People taking, doing stuff like this and recording videos. So
Yeah, it's got to be a little tough. Do you try to work like early hours or late hours or something like that to kind of be out of people's way or?
I'm usually in here like at 11 until 7
Mm.
at the latest.
Had
So
any have you had any dust ups with people about
no, a
noise
lot
or
of the people
smells
here.
or?
No, a lot of the people here are like hobbyists. This isn't their main gig. This is kind of.
Oh, okay.
There's a few of us that are here all the time, and we're like spread out. And I mean, it's like there's jewelers at the other end, always hammering on their anvils and stuff.
Oh,
So
good.
it's noise is part of it, but
Well, you got the smells too. I mean, you got so you're not doing any, are you doing any lacquer work there at all or?
yeah, I'm going up on the roof and spraying.
Okay. So you got the Tim Frick
Yeah,
outdoor method. And
yeah,
but you know, people complain about like bone. It surprises me. Everybody complains about bone dust.
yeah. John, when I went to Roberto Ben on the nut day, everybody's complaining about the smell of the bone dust. And one of the instructors there, John Reuter, is like, "Smells like money to me."
That's yeah,
Smells
exactly.
like
Somebody
$90.
yeah, that's exactly what I said. Smells like $100 to me. I don't know what you're smelling.
Oh, you charge 100?
Hundred bucks for a nut. I charged in a couple different places. Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, New York, New Jersey. It's I don't know if it's yeah. The prices here
I
suck compared to the cost of living.
Yeah, I could see. it being similar prices here in New York. Maybe a little bit more pricey in New York by like $5-10.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The cost of living here sucks, and New York, New Jersey, the customers aren't great. I mean, some of them are. Some of them are just as good as anywhere else. But the bad ones, I mean, I've never experienced anything quite like it.
Yeah.
But
Speaking of customers, I think a topic that might be of interest to other Loothin nerds. I had my first like impossible to please customer,
uh-huh.
and I was just wondering if you've dealt with that and like
I've had one where I've had one where I handed the guy his money back, and
yeah.
I was like that concludes our relationship, like. And it was, it wasn't like in anger or whatever. It's just like I was just like, dude, like you and I are not gonna see eye to eye on repair, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Not everybody is everybody's repair guy, and not everybody is everybody's customer. And I just gave him his money back on a refret, and I was like, it was easily like, it was expensive to do, but it was also like just emotionally the right decision, like the amount of emotional burden that lifted off me just to not, because it was after a long series of different repair situations, and it kind of culminated in that. So it was like,
I'm surprised how much it affects me. Like I realize that I genuinely like want people to be happy when they get their guitar back, and when it doesn't happen, I'm like, whoa, like,
yeah,
what's this feeling?
It's a weird feeling, and I'm I'm unfortunately on the people pleaser end of this spectrum too, and it was a real, maybe almost immersion therapy to go do work in Brooklyn, New York, where it was, the thing about New York is everybody, when I was in Brooklyn, it was when the neighborhood was changing and the rents were going up, and everybody was hanging on by a thread there. They were, like actively, everybody that was there was actively getting priced out of the neighborhood. And so there was that, but just in New York, everybody is just running just kind of like a little bit of a low grade scam at all times, just to kind of be competitive. Like it's just like everything's a little bit of an argument.
Yeah.
The other thing too that I really didn't like working there was, if you gave a price and they thought it was high, like if I had somebody over to do an estimate on a roof and they said it's going to be $10,000, and I thought it was high, I'd say, well, thanks, man. I'll get back to you or whatever. But over there it was like, oh man, like it just became like this. All of a sudden we're off to the races in like emotional manipulation, like it was there. All of a sudden it was a challenge for them to try to make you feel bad about your prices, and for your prices to come down to appease their feelings. It just was, it wasn't good. I don't know how many times I would sit there dealing with these people and think, who raised you that you walk around like this?
Are you from New York?
No, I'm from Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I think that's just part of the culture in New York.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
But it wasn't everybody though. There was like one. I had a joke that by the end of my time there, I was like, a serial killer that selected their victims at random in New York would have a 1 in 3 chance of accidentally improving their karma. So.
Yeah, Son of Sam actually was doing everybody a favor.
One out of 3, I would think, statistically. Yeah, the 2 out of 3 I feel real bad about, but yeah, it's it was nuts. I'd never seen anything like it. I almost told this story, but I had a kid get into my toolbox.
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
So it was this kid, and he was just in head to toe, like, one of those like clearly like outfits that you've never walked into a store, you've never seen these clothes, let alone thought of spending whatever money he spent on these clothes. But it was like purposefully trying to make him look like a hobo, but they were the most expensive hobo clothes you've ever seen in your life.
They're like Kanye West hobo chic.
Yeah, something. I mean, it just was like, yeah, stuff you only see in magazines. But anyway, he was in a noise rock outfit, and he was breaking strings. And he came in, and he had just had these munched saddles, you know, the kind of saddles that had seen like a lot of sweat and a lot of erosion or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, you need new saddles. I don't have these saddles on hand. I can order them, and it's going to take about a week for them to get here. And he was like, oh, okay. And then the way that Main Drag was set up back then, there was like 3 benches on the wall, and we all worked different kind of days. And whoever wasn't there, we used that bench for check-in. So he was on John's bench where I showed him, and then I go back over to my bench to start working, thinking that we just concluded our business because he didn't want to leave the guitar. And he stood there for like an uncomfortable amount of time looking at his guitar. And then he went over to the toolbox, and Anthony, did you meet Anthony? Was he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Anthony's dad is a mechanic in White Plains, New York, which, let me just tell you, like, you think Loothin is hard in New York? Try being an auto mechanic in New York. So Anthony's seen, you know, has seen his dad in action on any number of just ridiculous situations. So Anthony was just about ready to come unglued on the guy, and I was just like, hold on a second, I want to see where this goes. I was just really curious. So he starts like pulling drawers, right?
You wanted to see where it goes.
Yeah, I just wanted to see, you know, like he's already crossed the Rubicon, you know, like let's see what's happening here. And so he's pulling drawers, and then he finally settles in on the screwdriver drawer, and he pulls out a screwdriver, then walks back over to the bench, and he starts like, I don't know how to describe it, but you know how when you see somebody hold a tool and you're like, oh, they're gonna hurt themselves, you know, like they got like no idea, you know, anything to do with the third dimension is just like, you know, foreign to them. So he starts puts
his behind it, and he's like
something like that, but he starts like poking the saddle with the screwdriver, almost like he knows that this is a tool, and he knows that there's a problem on his guitar, and he just thinks that like when he sees like a guy like me, like he takes the tool and he applies the tool to the problem, right?
It's like when the monolith landed in 2001: Space Odyssey, and he picks up the
yes, oh. And so I'm watching this, and I'm just like, what? You know, like, is this, you know, like when you see those parents raise their kids with absolutely no boundaries, like they're just completely free range, and the parents are just like, you know, you see them like you go out to eat every once in a while, and the kids under the table, the kids on top of the table, the kids back in the kitchen, you know, like it's just like free range kids. Yeah. So he decides that didn't work for him. And where it all ended was he started going over to the drill press, and for reasons that are completely his own, he started trying to figure out how to turn the drill press on, and that's where I was like, all right, buddy, that's
you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah, it's the build your own bear session of your day is over. But that was a lot of Brooklyn too. Was you just get these people that were out. They were out having their experience, you know, like it was just like going into the guitar store was just another part of their experiential thing. And so one of the rules I had to make first, so there was the big main showroom, and then there was the repair area. And the first rule I made when I walked in there, because it was a total shit show, was like anybody can come back and talk about a repair in the repair department, but they have to have a guitar in their hands.
That's a good one.
Yeah, they can't come in and, oh, I got this guitar, and what do you think it would take to you know, put it in?
Have to see it.
Yeah, so that right there was a real game changer there, because guys would just come back there and they were just out having their, you know, choose your own adventure day, and they just chew up a half hour talking about some guitar that they were never going to bring in, you know, like it was just. But that was that zone.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, right now, appointment only seems like a hurdle kind of for me, but I can see how dealing with that kind of shit would just get so old.
Yeah, there's, in my experience, there's been nothing gained by dropping down to somebody else's, poor manners to try to get a customer. Like it never ends too. Like if that's where they're starting, and you come down to their level of, like accept it, then they'll just
Yeah.
take that as a indication to drop it a little bit lower next time.
Yeah. Yeah, the guy that I was talking about earlier, he was upset that I removed the nut to do at fret level on his Les Paul. So I was just like, yeah, this is kind of like standard procedure. Sorry.
Well, just as a test, you should go to you should add some gray to your hair so you don't have to put up with that shit. That's the type of shit you only put up with when you don't have like gray nose hairs sticking out of your nose and shit.
I'm starting in my mustache. I'm starting to get some whites.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a young man's
Yeah.
burden.
Yeah. They're just that's just and once again I would deal with that over at Main Drag when they wouldn't see that I was grizzled. Like when they were dealing with me on the phone, once they'd come in and they'd see that, I was an older fella, I dealt with less of that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's that's that I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. It's the there's something interesting going on with everybody knowing something about something because of the internet now too.
Because I saw a YouTube video.
Yeah, it's and a lot of that stuff is still like in the old days. They saw a little bit of something, and then their mind concocts 90% of the rest of whatever it is they think they know, and then they walk around pretty certain they're an expert on something. So I do it with certain things too. I mean, get me going on politics, and you would think I had drafted legislation or something at one point.
You should. I'd vote for you.
Gray is good, James Hood says. Yeah, go get you some in the store. Get you some Just for Old Men. It's like the opposite of Just for Men. You put it in your hair and it turns it gray.
Yeah, it's salt and peppers it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just see if that works. See if that works, just as a test.
I mean, I'm 31. I have a feeling it's going to show up soon.
It's coming. It's coming.
I've already got the nose hair and like super like wizard eyebrows growing up. I'm super excited for those to like get white and just have Gandalf breath.
Have you ever seen David Lynch's version of Dune?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the look. That's my next move.
Yeah.
That's my next move. Danny, I gotta get some Loothin done.
Yeah, me too.
Hey,
it was
really good talking, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me on. It was fun kind of showing you around and nerding out.
Awesome. Well, we'll do it again, man.
All right.
All right, take care.
You too.